everyone, it's Alan Brochstein in Houston, Texas from new Cannabis Ventures and soon from the publicly facing 420 Investor. I'm not really going to talk about that today, but this is my opportunity to catch people up with my work in the cannabis area. And this was a good week for the cannabis sector. But before I get into that, let me move this closer to me. Let me go over the important news of the week. And first of all, I don't think it was that important, but it's worth noting that Connecticut launched its adult use. The percentage increase in the legal adult sales in the United States is not going to go up that much, but yet it's another state that has adult use sales. And then I think I might have said this last week because I found out on Saturday morning. Illinois released their medical cannabis sales late Friday night a week ago, and the total between adult use and medical was up 1.1% from a year ago, which that's not so great. It's better than California and Oregon and what have you, but it's not so great for a new market like Illinois. And but that was up 10.5% sequentially to 175 million. I did publish an article at Seeking Alpha that is in the piece that I wrote, and I'll also put it in the summary. And that was another article on MSOS. And I know a lot of people invest in MSOS or like it, believe in it. And I followed it since before they launched. And in my piece this week, I pointed out that they're suffering from share reduction. And people are redeeming the shares, and they have dropped 10.1% since mid-December now. And they were down just a little bit this week. But that's a big change, unheard of for that ETF. It's gone, I have a chart in there. It almost always goes up, and if it goes down just a little bit. And this 10% plus decline has been amazing. And I think in my mind, I didn't want to put this in writing, but I don't mind saying it. I did put in writing that the ETF has been trading at a discount on the close to its net asset value. And usually that doesn't happen, but it's been happening a lot, and sometimes 2%. Even on yesterday, Friday, it closed almost 1% below. 702 was the close, the NAV was 708. What I didn't write, and what really concerns me, is that if this continues, we could see pressure on their holdings. And I have written what their holdings are is, in my mind, ridiculous. They have 78% right now in GTI, Curaleaf, Trulieve, Verano, and Cresco, the top five. And those five companies, I don't want to knock any of them except Curaleaf. I will knock that one. They're overvalued relative to their peers. But I don't predict bad things for those companies. But if MSOS continues to get redemptions, they're going to have to sell, and they're going to sell those stocks. If you don't believe me, they owned Hydrofarm a week ago. Actually, a month ago, they owned 1.2 million shares, or 1.3 million. They own 0 now. They sold it this week. And look at the price action on Hydrofarm. Before they sold it, they owned it, they rode it all the way down, and then they sold it and killed it. And now it's up a lot. Full disclosure, I own Hydrofarm in my model portfolio. Big. It's my largest position. All right. The news on my focus list names. I have 31 names that I have on my focus list, and all the news would include Air opened 2 additional Florida dispensaries. Curaleaf opened its Connecticut stores for adult use. That's not really news, but they did. They wanted the world to know. And they added a dispensary in Florida, and they also launched Blue Kudu chocolates. Jushi named a new CFO, and they announced the departure of the COO. They also opened their first medical cannabis dispensary in a new state, Ohio. Lowell announced that they hired Canaccord to evaluate strategic options. Organogram, one of my favorite companies, and I don't know if Hydrofarm is bigger than Lowell. They're both pretty big. Lowell, Organogram. I think Organogram, because I don't know. I need to look. But Organogram is a big holding of mine. I added to it this week. And again, I didn't add it. I added to it. Their revenue was in line with expectations. And their adjusted EBITDA was better. And they generated cash flow from operations, which is almost unheard of for Canadian LP. And if you look at the growth, while it was down a little sequentially from a very strong Q4 of theirs, it was up a lot from a year ago. I like Organogram. Tilray, I don't like. And they reported a miss, and their cannabis numbers were terrible. And they even talked about growing tomatoes instead of cannabis. But the revenue shrank from a quarter ago and a year ago. And then finally, Urban Grow announced that their revenue for Q4 was $17 million as expected, and their adjusted EBITDA is minus $1.5 million. And they updated their backlog, which rose from 67 million to 87 million. I don't think that backlog is mainly cannabis. And Urban Grow is a diversified company. Their roots and their origin are in cannabis, but they're doing other things as well. So now the market performance. The global cannabis stock index was up 6.9% to 1073. It's now up in 2023 by 10.5%. That's way more than the S&P 500, which is only up about 4%. And that was the global cannabis stock index. And now I'm going to talk about my model portfolios. I have two model portfolios that I created. When I left Benzinga, at the end of the year, I closed down all my model portfolios. I didn't need somebody else to do that for me. And right before the new year, I think on the 31st, but maybe the 30th, I created an imitation model portfolio called Beat the Global Cannabis Stock Index. I used to have 420 Opportunity and 420 Quality. And then I also created a new one, and for a lot of reasons, but it's called Beat the American Cannabis Operator Index model portfolio. And that one, it's trying to beat the American Cannabis Operator Index. But I know that a lot of you, people out there, when you think about cannabis investing, you don't care about ancillary, you don't care about LPs, you care about American cannabis companies. And that's fine. I don't think that's the right way to be an investor, but I respect you for that. And I created a model portfolio that would fit that bill. And I'm very critical of MSOS recently, and I wanted to show the world that I can beat MSOS. I know Noah would say, it's just on paper, it's not real. Okay, that's true. And that model portfolio is up, it was down 0.1% this week, but it's up year to date, it's up 11.2%. And MSOS is only up 0.4%. And I was wrong about the 11.2. The index is up 11.2. Again, index up 11.2%. It's not the MSOS index, but MSOS is only up 0.4%. 0.4 is a little bit less than 11.2. You know what's more? My performance, which is that model portfolio is up 13.9%. So I'm beating the index and I'm butt kicking MSOS. So I don't have anything against MSOS. Again, I've written about it a lot. They have 78% in just 5 securities. And I think there's a lot of other securities out there for cannabis investors that want to only invest in cannabis companies in the US. There's others, and I own them in my model portfolio. And I think that it's really not a good idea to buy only American cannabis producers. And I will think that way, not all the time. Sometimes it may make sense, but rarely. And in general, the bigger the more casts you take, the more fish you're going to catch. The bigger your net, the bigger your fish. There's a lot of ways to slice it and dice it, but if you limit yourselves, unless you're just a super expert and can trade a lot, and that portfolio doesn't trade a lot, then you're doing a loser strategy, in my opinion. But you're entitled. We include our calendar, and so this week, the United States markets are closed on Monday for MLK Day, and on Thursday, New Cannabis Ventures is hosting our client, Terracin, for a webinar, and we will let them do their presentation. We'll do some Q&A. We'll include the audience in that portion, and then we will distribute the tape to the people that sign up, and we will publish a piece on it with the recording as well. Have a good week. Take care. Bye.